Hi, my name is Mariana Sosueta, and with my teammates Damaris, Hatsibe, and Julian, we are going to present you the positive and negative sides of cloning. But before we start with that, let's talk about what cloning means. Cloning means they include both cloning and uncloning of the entire organism, and thanks to cloning, scientists have understand how cell works, and this has produced many useful products, including human medicine. Ethical and safety concerns have led the consensus that a human cloning should be banned. This because some people are afraid of their clones or even the clones of other people steal their information or use their digital prints. There exist three types of cloning. The first one is the DNA cloning, that this means is they use it to create a large number of copies of a clone. The therapeutic cloning, that this means that the embryo is to produce embryonic stem cells. And the last one is the reproductive cloning, that this involves creating an animal that is genetically identical to a donor animal, and this is with the help of a cell nuclear transfer.
What is artificial cloning? Artificial cloning is a reproductive technique where an organism is produced with the same genetical makeup as the original. Many people find cloning unusual and feel uncomfortable about the technology, but cloning can happen naturally. Anything that reproduces asexually, taking cuttings from plants and identical twins, are all types of natural clones. Artificial cloning can be done in two ways: embryonic splitting and somatic cell nucleus transfer. Both methods provide different benefits and limitations. Many animals have been cloned, including the most famous first mammal, Dolly the sheep. The cloning of mammals is the area of most interest in research and for the development of therapeutic medicines. It is also the area that attracts the most ethical disagreements, such as artificial cloning being against nature. Like everything, artificial cloning has its pros and cons. So some of the cons that has is high failure rate. This means nuclear transfer is a very inefficient process where the nucleus has to be removed and transferred without any damage occurring. The implantations into surrogate mother and the pregnancy itself can go wrong in many ways as well. Problems during later development. Many cloned animals produce health difficulties later in life, which includes an increase in birth size and a variety of defects in vital organs such as the liver, brain, and heart. Abnormal gene expression patterns. One of the main problems of cloning is the natural process of epigenetics, which controls differentiation in the expression of genes. The DNA itself isn't altered, but instead it occurs because specific compounds, proteins, and RNA sequences become attached to a section of DNA, thereby silencing or activating it. Telomeric differences. As cells divide, their chromosomes get shorter. This is because the DNA sequences at both ends of a chromosome, called telomeres, shrink in length every time the DNA is copied. The genetic diversity. Cloning creates genetically identical organisms, and in the case of reproducing endangered species, the genetic diversity will become smaller. Now, some of the pros are artificial cloning has opened many doors that could lead to remarkable medical advances, such as advances made through cloning animals led to a new therapy to prevent mitochondrial disease in humans being passed from mother to child. Diseases such as muscular dystrophy can be prevented by extracting DNA from the embryo and placing it in donor egg cell, which will be placed back into the mother. Research about cloning pigs for possible organ transplantations, cloning genetically modified cows that have a drug or vaccine in their milk, producing useful proteins into sheep and cows so that they can produce, for instance, the blood clotting agent factor IX to treat hemophilia or alpha 1 antitrypsin to treat cystic fibrosis and other lung conditions.
Did you know the effects that cloning can have? It can have negative and positive effects. Positive effects of cloning are like if the vital organs of the human body can be cloned, it can be provided as a backup system for human beings. Cloning body parts can serve as a lifesaver. When a body organ such as a kidney or heart fails to function, there is a possibility to replace it with the cloned body organ. Cloning in human beings can prove to be a solution to infertility. Cloning makes it possible to reproduce a certain trait in human beings. It will be able to produce people with certain qualities, human beings with particular desirable traits, hence making human beings a man-made being. Cloning technologies can be very helpful for the research in genetics. They might be able to understand their structure or arrangement of genes and the effects of genetic components on human traits. They will be able to alter genetic components in cloned human beings, thus simplifying their analysis of genes. Cloning may also help us combat with range of genetic diseases. Cloning can make it possible for us to obtain customized organisms and apply them for health benefits for society. Cloning can also allow the genetic alteration of plants and animals. The negative effects of cloning. The negative effects of human cloning is that it is inhuman because a clone makes no difference as us. A clone must eat, drink, and carry out any other metabolic process in order to survive. The clone may even be better than its original host. It will be inhuman to treat them as a special species, so if human is cloned, it will make us to be a property which can be sold to anybody else, which will be illegal. While cloning allows men to tamper with genetics in human beings, it also makes deliberate reproduction of undesirable traits a probability. Cloning of body organs may invite violation in society. In cloning human organs and using them for transplant or in cloning human beings themselves, technical and economic barriers will have to be considered. And finally, cloned organs will be cost effective, such as equipment materials used to make the cloned organs.
Cloning has a lot of applications. For example, in medicine, it is used to develop some things like vitamins, hormones, and antibiotics through the cloning of bacteria. Also in agriculture, cloning bacteria are used to make easier the process of nitrogen fixation in the plants, and this helps a lot for the experts because make easier a lot of process. In our opinion, a lot of people should be talking about this because this type of topics are so important in our days. A lot of new tech is growing up so faster, and we have to know about it if we want to be efficient in this competitive world. The expectation that we have about this topic is that if more people know about it and different topics that are growing up, more people are going to know the value of the things. For example, the medicines. We know there are medicines and we have it and we can buy it, but we don't know the process and the different discoveries that the experts have to do to reach that level of medicines. I mean, this process of cloning helps a lot in the medicine to make different things like vitamins and antibiotics and stuff like that, and we don't know it. And if we start talking about it, more people could want to study things like these ones.
In conclusion, it is important to know about this topic and to know the pros and the cons and what cloning is about and the impact that it might have in society. Also, it is important to know about this since in the future it's going to be used a lot because there are already cases in animals, so human cloning is not that far away. That is why it's important to keep up with the technological and scientific advances so we are informed about what is happening in the world. Thank you so much for your attention.